So hi guys, this is Rahul Prajapati. A very good morning to all of you. So basically, and welcome to this webinar. So today we are going to discuss specifically about few intraday setups and what are the things about what are the tools specifically we can use for trading the intraday market. Probably we can discuss about more about the EOD market also, how to take a positional trades also. But specifically, we can, let's say we have a focus about for the majorly for the intraday and from the derivative market specifically. Now, generally, we talk about few events that happens in the economy, right? So there are few macro events like we have a GDP data release and few other data release specifically. And apart from that, we have some micro events like companies are declaring the results specifically. So we are a bit certain about when we are going to get this quarterly results specifically for companies, right? So for today's starting for this webinar, I'll be discussing about the how to do the bit of result analysis. How do we check check the previous records, specifically how the stock has behaved previously, and then probably what is the anticipation of the stock after the few days of the results, right? So first we'll see few tools related to the results, and then how to interpret that and how can we proceed in that particular area. So let's start with that. So first let's talk about the results only specifically. So first I'll go to the result calendar. Now we can see that we have a declared results. What are the which are the companies basically they are going to produce their results specifically on these dates specifically. So if we go on 8th, so that's today, right? So we are going to have two companies which are declaring the results. That could be post market also, but they have a date to declare the result today. Probably we can see date wise also. So on 9th tomorrow we can have Bata India and Kale also. So as you can see on specific dates where we have these dots, so you can check the results of these companies are likely to be in the market. Now what are the things that we need to look for? So first, whenever we approach any particular stock, based on these events specifically, company results, so going blindly on the taking a blind call on these particular stock, that stock will become bullish or bearish, you should be having a fair idea how generally the stock has a tendency to behave after and before the results, right? So for that you can check this analysis, how the stock has behaved historically few days before and few days after the results. Okay, now here we can see in this column here, right? So we can check the historical dates also, like MFSL going to give the result today probably, so we can check the historical dates also specifically. So if you click on this, you will get the specifically from the somewhere around 2018. So you can get the quarter results date on which dates the stock is probably given the result historically. Now if you want to discuss about this particular stock, let's go to the result analysis. Okay, so I'll click on this. So we'll get the the performance of this particular stock few days before and few days after the result. Now see, this is the percentage change basically. So the orange bars that you are seeing, that is because I have taken a 2 days before and 2 days after the results. So that's a date, right? So days are before and after that, declaring the result. So you can change it also. If I want to change it, I can go to, let's say, 10 days also, and even for 1 day. So the result will be different on the basis of that. Now, the orange bar specifically here, right? So they are basically 2 days before the performance of the stock 2 days before, and you can check the gray bars that are specifically for the results after the the performance of the stock after the results. Now it's always better to have some statistical data about the stock, how the stock has performed historically after than before the result. Now I can see some pattern in this particular stock. So even if you can check the here the table also, so whenever the stock has given a result within 2 days, the stock has shown mostly the positive moves. You can see in the last particular result, the stock has given a 10% return. probably in 2 days, and then probably see, you can see 2% also. Out of this 10 or 11 data points, we have only 3 dates or 4 dates where we have a negative result. That too very small, right? But on the positive side, this stock is, generally has a tendency to produce a good result, a good, movement of the, after the result. So you can see, you can have a fair idea about this stock, right? How this, the stock performs actually. Now, simultaneously is, we can check this by going, on this particular tab here. So result analysis. Now, it's not necessary to, we can check this only this particular stock. You can find any particular stock and you can have the, you can check the data about that stock. Now, first, let me change it to some other stock also. Let's see the results only for the stocks which are coming. Okay, so today we have a Petronet result also. So I'll click on this. Now, if I check this, I cannot see any specific pattern because it's pretty random, right? So the stock is behaving very haywire, before and after the result. So not a specific pattern I can see, right? So we can change the date also. Let's try for 5 days before and 5 days after the result. Now, again, the situation is same, not a major change we can see. So sometimes, this stock is showing with this kind of, pattern. So don't go with that. It's simple as that. If you able to find some kind of pattern that, the stock is producing over the period of time, you can go with that, right? Now, so let's check one more again. So probably tomorrow we are going to have Bata India results and the GAIL. So we can have a view about this also. Okay, so now just again, default value is 2 days before and 2 days after. So we can change it to 3 or 4, whatever you want specifically. Generally, if you see last from 3 quarters, this stock is actually giving a negative result, negative performance after the result. Even though before the result, before 2-3 days, it is again producing a negative, from few quarters, right? You can see just a 1 quarter we have, positive, 2 days before positive move, and then probably the negative side. So kind of a bit of pattern on the negative side. Stock is moving upside, so that could be we can see profit booking coming in this particular stock after the the stock produces the result, right? So just to have this kind of observation to approach any particular stock on this event date specifically. Now let's say we have identified a stock using this particular criteria, right? Based on the historical movement, we see that okay, the stock is trying to go up or trying to go down. What else we can do, on this particular stock? How to find, entry points, or probably what would the important levels that we can look for? So again, being a derivative trader, we can go to the open interest. We can check about these levels. So let's see. We can try for Petronet and MFSL. Okay, now, if we check this particular stock, so as of now, 250 is working out to be good resistance, right? On the downside, I cannot see any specific build up on the put side. So 250 has the highest OI as of now. So that could be a good resistance as of now. If market breaks that, we can have 260 also level on the upside. But downside, I'm not able to see any major build up, right? So let's see how this stock behaves after that, right? So you can have, you can add this in your analysis also. Fair enough, right? So if you have any doubt in this, you can ask also. So how do we approaching this particular stock? If that particular stock has a result. So first we'll see the historical performance few days before the result and few days after the result, right? And then we can check for few levels, which are the important levels from using the OI data on that particular stock, right? Now, talking about another support resistance only, we have one another under which we can have a fair idea about this particular stock, that what are the other important levels. So earlier we looked at the open interest. Now we can turn our focus on the volume also. So we can check the volume analysis also. So again, same thing, it's just a bit of a refined way you can check. Now, okay, now let's try to understand this. What is this as of now? So here we can check, this is the dates, okay, on the x-axis, right? On the downside, y-axis we have the price. So this white line is basically a price movement, okay, closing prices, and these orange bars that you can see, that's a volume, right? So you can check the here x-axis on the upside, so that's a volume, right? One more thing you are observing here is that bins. So that bins is basically a, you can say cluster of a level where we observing the highest volume. Okay. Now this support resistance is basically based on the high, the volumes specifically. Now, generally when we talk about few important levels in the particular stock, so let's say for this particular stock, we can say 250 is a, working out to be good resistance as of now, because at this level we can see the highest level, the volume here, right? At this point, probably you can see. So, okay, so you can see this particular bar, right? This one, right? So, and this is the, at this price we have the highest volume, so we can see the stock is also taking resistance at this point. So now on the downside, if you see this particular bar 240 has the highest volume, right? You can see here also in this graph here, in this tabular form, right? So that's the highest volume on the downside. So that would be working as a good support level, right? So this volume analysis keep on updating, right? So it's better to have a view always on the EOD first, right? Then try to see what are the important levels on the intraday. Specifically, these levels works because whenever we talk about the specific events, so what happens in events, generally stock tend to move either on a higher side on the, with a big quantum change, specifically on the upside or downside. So it's always better to have a, larger view about the stock, right? So as of now, I can say this 250 is good resistance because it's taking the resistance at this point with this high volume. On the downside, we can say 240 and even though 235 or 238 probably, right? 237 you can check here, right? So 237 again is a good cluster level for volume. Okay. Now generally because these levels works because we have a volume support, at these levels specifically. So these traders are creating a demand and supply zones on these levels specifically. So generally we say price is a memory. So how price get the memory specifically? So whenever the price is trading at 250, so the people who have earlier traded this particular stock, they become active, right? Now what happens? Let's say stock again come back to this 230 or 240 level. The people who have bought this stock somewhere around this level or probably at this level, they earn something out of it, right? They book the profit. Now again, they are seeing the same level, so they might be interested in this particular stock to enter in this for the trade, right? So again, 240 or 237 will become another good level for these people to enter in this stock, right? So this is how we can approach any particular stock on from this point. So I hope this is clear. Let's try for a few other stocks. We can check for Nifty also, right? Even though we don't have a result, we can still do the this kind of analysis. So I'll do for Nifty and we'll check for BankNifty also. Okay, so you can check. This is for Nifty. So we can change the date also. So as of now, we have selected this period only, right? So it's very small period. If you want to go for even of a big period, we can check that, right? So we can change it. Now let's try for this whole year. Okay, now where we can see the highest volume as of now, so 15,000. So that's a good support level if we talk about at this point of time. Because market is trading again near to all-time high, so we don't have any major resistance as of now. So probably over the period it can develop some levels, right? So we can go further back in period. Let's start with 2020 specifically. Then we'll have a better approach to see the stock. Again, somewhere around 15,000, it's a good cluster. We can see, right here, the price is also spending a lot of time here. Again, the volume cluster is always high, again high, right? Now talking about another levels. So here we can see this is this level, right? So probably somewhere around 11,500, right? So on the bigger picture, if you're looking for this particular whole time period of 1.5 year, right? Specifically, fine. So even though we have a data, so we can check from historically also in this. Okay. So again, this volume analysis specifically help us to identify the important key areas where market can turn, right? So that's what we want always. Whenever you see good resistance, good support, so you can enter in the market with very small stop losses, or you can approach the market with a directional strategy, right? Okay. So till this point, I think we are clear. If you have any query, you can put, right? Okay. So till then, let me just give you a fair view what we have done till now. So we are trying to find, the stocks which have a specific events, right? How to approach them specifically. So first, we did the small analysis of how a stock generally behaves before few days of the that particular result, and then after a few days after the results, right? Then it's always get to it's good to know that what are the important support resistance for that particular stock, so we can check that also. So either we can use the OI analysis, right? That is a simplest way we can do, plus we can check the volume analysis also. So here we'll get to know the what are the key points specifically we have. Okay. So by looking at these two factors specifically, we can create our trading system on the event days specifically. But again, event days could be a create a problem if stock shows a huge movement either side or probably against you. So it's always advisable to trade with strict stop losses specifically when we're trading the futures market, or even though we are trading the options market. So we should be having we should be ready for specifically you can say uh, to hedge specifically those positions if we are selling options specifically, right? Okay, so till then we are okay. So we have revised this whatever we have done. Now another topic that we can discuss is, okay, so first because we are when we are trading the derivative market specifically or specifically intraday, so what is the problem that we face specifically? So how to pick up the specific call option or put option? Let's say I am bullish on, let's say, XYZ stock, or let's take example of Reliance, let's say. So should I approach with the ATM call, ITM call, or OTM call? How do we identify this, right? So for that purpose, we can try some few tools that we have. So first, if we talk about, we need to find randomly, so we can specifically go to the triggers that we have already discussed many times. If we want to see change huge addition in call option or put option, we can directly go to the triggers and check which strike price is actually providing us the highest Y, and how much it's very near to the current price, or it's very far away from that particular current price, right? Now we can sort it by using this, right? So if we check this particular stock, the Torrent Power, the current price is 478. Okay. Now, if we check the 500 strike price, that's showing a bit of unusual activity, that why is huge addition happening on this particular, that is 288%, right? Okay. But it's that stock is, even though it's 5% above that strike price is 5% above that particular current price, right? So you can check some kind of unusual activities by looking at the triggers also, specifically on the basis of OI. Now, generally, when we're trading this derivative market, we can go to the F&O news specifically first. Now, what is F&O news specifically? What it will tell you, again, the same thing, where we have the most of the unusual activity going on. Now, if you check, these are the call option and put option mentioned here, basically, and plus we have the OI activity also here, like, long build up happening, short build up, short covering, right? And SOP stand for stock options specifically. We have some unusual activity in any kind of index options, so probably we'll get the index option there also. Now, you might be observing that few columns are basically few rows specifically have blue color specifically in this, and few have red one. So these red ones are much more to look for. Like if you check the Tata Power, right? Okay, so you can see the strike price specifically 117.5 put option. So the price changes almost 28% negative, but the OI changes very huge, right? Same as you can check the Torrent Power 485 call option has 400% jump in the OI, and price has jumped specifically 56%, almost, you can see. So that's very easy to catch, right? So keep on updating. So you need to check again, see the Tata Power has come up again, right? So plus one more thing here, you can check specific segment also, like, if you want to check only in index options, so you can go and check. So for Nifty and Bank Nifty, 16,200 has the price change, you can see 10%, and Y is 1%, right? And again, we have seen bit of unusual activity on 14,000 or 41,000. That's far away as of now. Fine. So index option does not show this kind of jump. That's decent jump, right? But even those stock options, you can check, right? Even you have a futures option, so you can check on futures also if you can have any major movement, right? So I think this is clear till this point. Are we okay? Okay, fine. Now let's talk about one more thing here. So we have a F&O scanner also here. Now, what is this? Again, you can see the torrent power. So there are few things, here we can scan and we can get the, what are the activities that is happening in different call option and put option based on our defined criteria, right? So here you can check. We have options for futures and both, right? Options, right? We can select the expiry specifically, right? We generally go for the, we are talking for stock specifically. So 24th, that's the, monthly expiry, we can take that. Now, generally we have three inputs that we need to give. So first is, what is the price change you are expecting? Okay, how much price change you want? Okay, because generally we have a good, huge change in the price on call option, put option, right? So we can put higher values also. So let's say, let's go with the 10, as of now, 5% only. Now we can give the another input of OI also, right? What percent of OI change you want specifically? And if there is change, you want on IV also, specifically volatility also, right? Okay. So now if we click on this, we can change this value. Let's move it to 10, or let's make it 20. Let's make it 4. Click on apply. When we do this, it will filter out all those, stocks and, strike price specifically where these criteria are getting fulfilled. So if you can see, the price change is almost 81% here, right? This is 10% here. So that's higher than what we have given. So any stocks which are, giving any strike price specifically for any particular stock, which is giving a movement below the 10%, so it will not show you here because it is filtering out those values. Now, OI change, you can see whatever the value is given, it is always high, right? And IV is 4%. So that's change in this, these IVs are higher specifically. So that will help you out to filter out this, changes. So for looking any unusual activity, we can do these three things. Either we can go to the triggers, we can directly check where we have highest OI addition, right? Plus we can see, check the F&O scanner specifically what we have done. Okay. Now then we can have a F&O news under which we keep on, the values keep on updating about what are the unusual activity we are having, any strike price, right? Now, so that's, this is for basically we can talk about intraday only. How do we analyze, if there any, have a kind of change like, this price change and, Y change we have, right? Now the question is how to put the enter, how to take the entry in this. Generally, you can check this, these activities somewhere around 9:30, 9:40 when market, get settled approximately after, 15, 20 minutes. So then you can put on this filter and check this, what are the values we are getting, and then we can take trade specifically where here actually we have the, the Y activity also. That's long build up happening in this particular put option, right? Okay, so people are buying this, right? Now, same on this call option, we are having the same activity. You can, customize this value as per your wish, right? So let's say I want to go for, let's say 7% change, or probably 15% Y change, or only 3% change in this IV. Okay, now we have few other stocks also. We can see a lot of change happening in the Hindalco specifically. So all the put options are very active as of now. So if you're good with technical analysis, you can check the chart, you can analyze the market gain, right? And if you don't want to do that, you can go and check the Hindalco specifically. We can see that Hindalco has a highest activity happening in these put options. So we can check Y again and see what is happening in this particular stock. So again, you can, so this is the price, 384. Again, we have seen the activities happening in these strike price only 380, 385, 390. Okay. You can check here also. That's 400 first. Okay. Then you can check for 390 also here and 380, right? Specifically on the put side. So that's giving you a range. On the upside, we can have 390 to 400 range. On the upside, on the downside, we can see 380 as a support, right? So probably stock is trying to trade in this range. You can check the chart also, right? Okay, so that's how do we we can easily approach any particular stock. So like we have seen Petronet also. Let's do that. Let's try everything. Let's try to do how check one particular stock in all these analysis and see what we can get out of it. So okay, so let's try for tomorrow so that we have a gale, right? So let's see, is there any activity going on in this particular stock right now? So first, let's see what is the historical analysis. So if you check this particular stock, we can see that mostly the stock is, even though before that few days the result the stock is going up, even after the result the stock is going up. So just a few instances that bit of negative. So now let's look at the chart of the gale also, technical chart, and see what is happening in that. And then we'll come back to the normal analysis that we were doing. So let's select the daily chart first. So again, the stock has given a breakout right here. So yesterday, and again the stock is bit of small correction here. So if we observe this activity, the stock is actually going up from last week, right? So now it's just we need to wait how the stock will providing the result tomorrow and see what happens in this, right? Now, so that first thing we are okay. So the stock is actually given a movement from last 1 week. Now let's go to the volume analysis for gale. So let's check from 1st January. Okay, so mostly we have a cluster here only. So on the downside, we can see 150 has a good support as of now, even though 160 is also building up a bit of here. You can check it, this one. And majorly we have somewhere around 135 to 140 because the stock has spent a lot of time here, so probably they have built built a good support resistance levels here on the basis of volume specifically. Now to approach this stock, let's move to the open interest first. You can check it here also. So stock is trading somewhere around 167. That's the current this future price. Now, if we check the 170 call options, you can see that bit of unwinding happening here at these levels. 180 has a bit of addition here, right? So these two levels are specifically we can look for. On the downside, we don't see any kind of build up on the put side. Probably 160, right, and 150. That's gain. So somewhere around we can get this value from this volume analysis also, right? Okay, now let's see if there any change specifically in gale. So let's go for a trigger and see for gale. So let's see in gale. Okay, so if we check 150 strike price, that's 4% change only, right? And on 170 call ups, that's 1 point change. That's unwinding happening on this. We have seen on that Y chart also. So that's pretty near. So if we have a breakout above 170, so stock can move upside. Now we don't have any nearest strike price, having a major movements like probably 160 or 165 probably. So we don't have any on the put side, but on the call side we have seen bit of unwinding. Let's see how the stock moves today and tomorrow, and then we can have a further analysis on this, right? Okay, now we can check on here also. So as of now, we don't have a new, from this particular stock, we don't have any major change. Now see, we have another addition here. So index options. right? So 16,200 put option. So that's 293% change here, right? And 8% price change. So that's bit of addition happening on this particular put option, right? Because market is falling right now. So that's the case. So I think we are okay till this point. Any doubt anyone have? Right. So what we have discussed till now, the 3-pointer specifically to how to approach a result stock, any particular event in that particular stock, and then we can check, identify using the volume specifically what are the major support resistance, and then we can talk about the specifically again we are if you're a derivative trader, we tend to look the Y analysis mostly, right? So that's a fair easiest way to identify any specific level or support and resistance we have for that particular stock. Now then we can have to, if you want to fetch some few unusual activities, we can check for F&O scanners, and then we can go for triggers or F&O news, right? So this one. Okay, so till then if you have any query you can ask me. We'll try to do for another stock. So see that probably from today's stock only. Let's do for Petronet or some other stock. We see any major stock, Steel Authority. Okay. Coal India's probably have a result on 14th. So probably if we check, check the weekly chart of this particular stock. So stock is likely to move above this. So 160 level is facing a resistance here. So let's try to see what's happening in this particular stock. Now, let's check Coal India. So probably we have a result on next Monday, coming Monday, right? So from past few days or few quarters specifically, the stock is a bit of on the negative side. Okay, so let's try to change the days. Let's say 5 days before and after that. Okay, so activity is the same, most of the negative side. Okay, so that means if the stock is taking at resistance at 160, we can take a bet again. See, by looking at the OI analysis, we have the 160 level. That is the highest OI, so that will be working at a good resistance as of now. Right, on the downside, we don't see any major additions. So that could be an important level for this particular stock in the coming week also. Now, talking about the volume analysis again. Okay, so again here that's resistance, right? So that's a bit of stock is unable to break that level. So again 160, 155, that's a important resistance level. On the downside, we can see this is a good level, 147. That's a highest volume we can see here as of now in this chart from last 2-3 months. Right, so 147 could be a good support, and 156 or 160 could be good resistance by looking at this. So we can approach the stock if we know that the stock is likely to produce a result next Monday, right? Okay, so this is how we can create some systems on the basis of using the statistics data that we have based on the derivative, right? Okay, and then if you are a good with technical analysis, you can find some entry levels on these particular stocks, right? And specifically, if we are sure about that stock is not likely to go show us some major movement, right? So what we can do is we can approach some neutral strategies under which we can cover some specific levels, right? Probably if we talk about this only, let's say 140 to 160, 170 level we can cover, then we easily make money out of this, right? Okay, fine. So now let's see some. Let's try to change some values here and see what we get out of it. Okay, so price change. Let's see something about 10%. Why, let's say we can approach by, let's say 100% if we have, and 3% for IV change. Okay, so again we have seen metal stocks are showing a good of movement here. Vedanta, Hindalco is actually having a huge movement. We have checked that here also. So Torrent Power, again, yesterday we have seen a power stock was, showing a lot of long build-up happening in this whole sector specifically. So Torrent Power is showing a good moment also, right? Okay, fine. So this is how, we do some kind of analysis, using this few tools specifically, right? Okay. So if you have any query, you can ask. Right. Okay. So plus one more thing, whenever we are doing the intraday trade specifically, so it's always better to have a, to talk, see the overall picture of the market specifically. So you can check the build up specifically where we are the markets, the overall sentiment is trading specifically. So if you go to the build up tool, we can check what is the market breadth specifically. So here, that's a mixture, I think, again. So, probably short side, we have 69 stocks out of 159. So, that's mixed as of now, right? So again, we talked about Torrent Power C. You can see here also that's on the higher side, right? So almost 4% change in the stock, and we have a good OI buildup in this particular stock. Right? MFSL has a result, so that's already stock is 1% up, and see the OI, jumping in this. So we can check this on stock also. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go for OI option chain first. Mhm. So if you check the highest OI as of now, so that's only on the 1,000 rupees call option, 5 lakh, and sorry, where we have on 1100 also, right? So in between we don't have any, because we cannot see any major, change. So we have the highest here on the 1,000 call option. On the downside, if we check, uh, I cannot see any major addition on the put side specifically. So this 1,000 could be working as a good resistance. If market breaks this level, we can see, this level coming up, because we don't see any build up happening in these specific strike prices. So these are a bit of kind of a illiquid, you can see, and then 1100 we can see, right? So same, we can check that on the open interest also, right? You can see that 1,000 call option. The stock is actually trading at 1,000 only. So if it breaks, stock can come up to this level. So let's see how the stock behaves after the result is, after the result is out. Okay. So let me see some queries. See, basically, most of the data, when we have to analyze any particular stock, right, or specifically options, mostly the data that we have, the OI specifically, or these kind of data is, even though on NSE they are updated bit of late, right? So these data are a bit of delayed, not major, right? It's probably a 5 minutes delay, right? So generally we can, we have to do a bit of analysis on this way only, right? Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay. So now the query is that, few stock, if you check, right, under which we have the red columns, right, red rows specifically, Torrent Power, 485, 530 call options. So now what is this specifically? Even though you can check Dr. Reddy also, 5,150 call option. So what is this? Now, this is, you can check what is happening in this specific strike price. Now, if the call addition, this is what is happening here, you can check. Now, if you check this particular stock, so on this is P, right? So why we have highlighted this, that is because of these OI changes specifically here. You can check this also. This 10,000% change in the OI. So probably earlier it was very less, and suddenly we have seen a jump in this. Okay. Now what is happening? There's a lot of OI's addition on this particular stock, strike price. So there could be two interpretation, right? So let's say the stock is, this strike price is observing highest OI. So you can check the OI again, for this. Let's check for IRCTC. Now, the problem is for certain stock is that, they are a bit of illiquid on the option segments, right? Now, so 2200 on the 2200 put option that have seen a huge addition, right? So let's check once again. 2200 put option, right? Okay, now let's check this again. So first of all, if we check from the call side, the highest addition on the call is this only, and we can see this change. That's the highest addition, right? Okay, so that was probably zero, and suddenly we have seen a jump in this particular strike on the put side. So if someone is selling this put option, so he might be thinking that stock will move up, right? So even though we have to interpret in that way, right? Whenever if I'm selling some in the money call options, my interpretation is that market will move above that particular strike price and it will become zero over the expiry, right? So that could be my interpretation. So you need to see where is the this activity is happening specifically. Okay. Now, just only the change does not give us any specific, although there could be a huge change in the call and put option, any particular strike price, but we need to see where it is. It's above the current price or it is below the current price. So you need to interpret in that way also. So we have done a lot of videos on OI analysis. If you have any doubt, you can check that and see how this stock behaves, right? Okay. Okay, now let me see. Now, if any particular stock strike price is showing a long build-up, that means, it's generally a price is going up, right? Price is going up. Let's say if it is on the put, price is going up and we have a good build-up. So that's support from that price is falling. That's why the price of the put is rising. Future price is falling, right? So that's why the put price is rising. So you can interpret in any way, right? So generally, if we are talking in terms of intraday, so we can buy specifically. We don't have any issue in this. So whenever it's not advisable to carry the long positions in options specifically because because of theta risk, right? So theta has a against us. So if you're trading the intraday, we can even buy these options. There is no problem in that. Okay. Now, where do we get the volume data in the application? So in application specifically, we have a column. We have a tool which is known as volume analysis. Here you can get this. Okay, fine. More. We can check for index also, right? Whatever the data you want to see, we can check on the index also, whatever we have done. So because generally because when you check on Nifty or BankNifty, generally people are more active on this. So it's very difficult to find many unusual activities on that. We generally see that 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 15 lakh contracts are trading on most of the strike prices, right? Specifically, so there is no change as such. You will see only generally stock shows a movement. You can see unusual activity on those specifically because in Nifty it's highly liquid. So let's keep on happening on that, right? So even if you want to check like for stocks or for index also, you can easily check it, right? If we get the highlight for that, we will definitely take into consideration. Let's see in the news. Generally, if I type Nifty, so probably we don't have, right? So again, no change for BankNifty, right? So mostly when we see these kind of changes, right, that's happening only on the stock options because there's a sudden change in the OI and sudden change in the price. That's only, right? Okay, now we'll talk about F&O scanner. So here probably we'll get that. if we see, you can see that some changes in this, right? But that's again, very small changes, 40 to 40%, right? 15%. That's again, that's pretty usual for Nifty, right? Okay, any particular index. Okay, now Tata Motors is again, if it is forming under your specific parameters, you can trade it about any particular stock, right? Any particular stock, if that's falling under your analysis, that's all, right? Now, talking about the Tata Power, let me see what is happening. Now, see here, if you check this, so price changes minus 22% on the put option, and we can see, the OI addition is almost 1200%. So what is happening here? The stock is actually moving up. That's why it's losing its value. So probably people are more aggressive on the put side. Okay, and that's very unusual. That's highest probably we have seen in this particular stock. That's why it is highlighting, right? You can check on IRCTC here. That's huge movement here also, right? Okay, fine. So I think any more query if you have, you can put it, and I'll have to solve it. Okay, so let me summarize what we have done, and then we'll try to wrap it up, the session, right? So we generally talk about the kind of, you can say, how to approach any particular stock based on the few specific criteria specifically. So if we talk about this, we have talked about the result analysis. So just to check, these stock can show you a good moment, right? Apart from that, you can check it's always to have, better to aware of the, important levels in that particular stock. So you can go either from the OI analysis or from the volume analysis, right? And then probably if you do more, if you specifically want to trade on, options specifically, so you can use F&O news or F&O, scanners to identify few specific spots where we can see that unusual activity is going on. So we can trade it. So I'm not denying to buy the options on the intraday, right? You can trade with proper stop losses, then that's perfectly fine. You can trade for intraday also. It's not advisable to, trade, even the short position, creating a short position on stocks and naked stock position specifically. So it's always, approach any particular stock for a, you can say if you're taking a positional trade. So always approach with defined strategy, right? Okay. Now, so if you have any query, you can put me on this, right? I'll help you out. Okay. So even though if you want to have, if you have any query, you can put it on the comment box. We can solve it on the later part, right? So that's all from my side. Let's wrap this session, right? So if you have, if you specifically you need to know about any particular query, you can mail us to on the support. Okay, so you can give it on the support at the quantsapp.com. Plus again, we always have from last few weeks we have a BankNifty competition, right? So if you can predict it, you can get the that so you can win the free subscription for our application. So you can check it here. You can go and take the participation in that, and if you able to predict that, you can win up to this 6-month subscription. So try your luck. You see how you can see it, right? Okay, so guys, thank you very much. I'm Rahul Prajapati. I'll see you again with coming with new videos on other activities, other tools, and we'll try to see how we can approach the market in a probably in a positional way, and probably for the intraday perspective. Okay guys, so I'll see you around. Fine, thank you guys, bye and take care.